Good morning and happy Saturday. Welcome to our Saturday Mystery Craft Along. This is our first one for February, actually the only one for February. So I hope everybody is having a lovely day and that you're enjoying your weekend. Sorry I was a couple of minutes late. I was just had a little brainstorm and thought, oh, I've got another idea, but for a sample to show you. So let's have a look at our first clue. And our first clue today is to gather our supplies. So if you haven't attended our mystery craft along before, basically it's a way for you to use things that you have on hand. Now you won't see the card until we're finished. So your card will definitely be different to mine because we're using different supplies and different stamp sets and different colours. Oh, hello Glenda. Lovely to see you this morning. Glad that you can join us for a while. Today's Mystery Craft Along is a fairly simple card, so it shouldn't take too long. There are a couple of tricky bits which I will show you, but they're not tricky if I show you what to do. Okay, normally I wouldn't. So let's get started. So first up, what you need is your stamps. Now today I'm using 2 stamps. I'll show you what I'm using. Now you use whatever you have in your stash. I'm using the Bragworthy stamp set because I love this here. Your friendship is as bragworthy as a dress with pockets. Now I love dresses with pockets, and the first thing anyone says to me, well, I say to anyone who says, oh, I like your dress, oh, it's got pockets. It's the first thing I say. So I'm really, and I also like this, would recommend you as a friend. So this is a card to show my friends that I love them as part of our love month. The other stamps that I'm using is in the Moment stamp set. And both of these are in the current Stamping Up January to June mini catalogue. Alright, so we've got our stamp set, we've got our ink, we need our base card. Now your card is going to be a portrait card. So this will help you, keep this in mind, it will help you when you're putting your card together. All right, the next thing that you will need, I'll put my base card aside, is you'll need 2 pieces of, now this base card, sorry, is exactly half of an A4 sheet. So normally I make my cards a little bit smaller than that because I work in quarter inches and quarter inches, but today we need every little bit of extra real estate that you can get. So then you'll need 2 pieces of, I get 2 right size pieces, 2 pieces of white. Now don't worry about my little smudge there. So this white, sorry, you've got your ink pads, you've got coloured card base. Your white is 10 centimetres by 14 centimetres, or if you work in inches, approximately 5.5 by 4. So you need 2 pieces of that, one for the front and one for the inside. So Glenda, how are you today? I forgot to ask you that. I hope you're well and not sweltering too much. I'm already sweating and it's only 9 o'clock and I've just had a cold shower. Okay, you also might need some scraps for stamping on. So I always keep some scraps on hand in case I don't stamp my sentiment right, or I want to stamp an image and die cut or punch it. So just keep that in mind. I've got my scrap piece. You also need some designer series or pattern paper. So you need 3 strips. Now it's best to use a pattern paper that doesn't have a really specific, what do you call it, pattern, like an upways pattern. So these are going to go on your card long ways, vertically, okay? Just so you know. Then you need another one, a contrasting one. I was being lazy and I just used the same card pack. So, those pattern papers are 1 1/4 inch by 3 inches. Now, if you were using a smaller piece of white cardstock, you will need to make them a bit thinner. But that's something you can play around. Now, if you don't have pattern paper, what you can do is you can stamp on a piece of cardstock and cut it down to how you want it. Yeah. Well, the air can, thank you, Glenda. I'm glad you do it well, thank you. And yes, I will stay cool. As soon as the video's over, I'll be putting the aircon on because the one in this room is a little bit too noisy. So yeah. So as I said, you can use some stamped paper, you could emboss it, you can do all sorts of things. So don't be distressed if you don't have pattern paper, just make your own. Okay? So that last piece of pattern paper was 1 inch wide by 4 inches long. So it's the same width as your white cardstock. Okay, so you're also going to need some of your basic tools. So your silicone, I'll just move this up. If you've got a silicone craft mat or a piece of non-stick baking paper, that's a really good idea to have that. Some paper snips or scissors, your bone folder. If you haven't already scored your base card, you might need your paper trimmer with your scoring attachment. Now, you need some adhesive. So today, what I found with this particular layout, your adhesive is really important. It's and I think that the easiest adhesive to use is your glue, because that gives you some wriggle room, okay? So you want to be able to maneuver things a little bit and get them lined up straight. Okay, so the other thing I forgot to say, if you're just joining us for the first time, is when you have finished creating your clue, I hope you're crafting along with me, Glenda, today. When you finish doing your first clue, you just type the word done and the clue number. So if you've got all your supplies together, just go done 1 in the comments, and then I'll know that you're ready. Now we have a policy of no crafters left behind, so it's pretty easy if there's only 1 or 2 of us, but if there's a bigger group, you might be waiting for a little while. Obviously, if you're watching this on replay, you don't have to write done in the comments, but you don't have to craft along. If you want to just watch today or just talk about the clues, you're quite happy for you to do that. And so we will just get started. And Glenda, I hope you've got your supplies together, and let's go ahead. Now you might also need some coordinating ribbon, some bling, wink of Stella, however you want to embellish a card. And if you have images that you're using, you might want to punch them or die cut them. Oh, so you're doing it later, that's all right. Ah, unexpected visitors. They're always the best kind, aren't they? Remember, they're like fish. They're ready. It's time to get rid of them when they've been there for 3 days. All right? Okay, let's start with clue number 2, which is gather your surprise. Now, I'm crafting along at home, so I won't be showing you what I'm doing. So the first thing is you're going to grab one of your vanilla pieces, and you're going to stamp your sentiment in the top left corner. Now, whereabouts you stamp it completely depends on where or how big your sentiment is, and also, but it needs to be in the top left corner. So I'll just let you just stamp that, and we won't be a second. So this is clue number 2. Now, I promised on my last Facebook Live that I would do a little draw for my customers who shared projects with me in December and January. Unfortunately, I had a bit of a sleep in. Well, it's a funny story. I started just making one project for this class, and I ended up making 5 examples of how to use it. So I haven't finished doing the stuff for the draw, and then I had a bit of a sleep in this morning, so that's why I was a little bit late. I don't normally sleep in on a Saturday. I might wake up early and read for a while, but I don't usually sleep. Okay, we're done with clue number 2. Now, all the clues will be on the blog later on, and there'll also be there'll be a PDF version, and I'll be loading the video also up to the YouTube channel as well. Plus the examples of the cards that we've used will be on Instagram later on. Okay, so now we're up to clue number 3. Now this is the one that you might need some help with. So I'll just move my clue over to one side. Where is my silicone craft mat? I'll need this. Okay. I should have said that you probably need some tissues or something like that to wipe off any excess glue. So I've got my 3 pieces, one of my pieces. Now mine's got a little bit of a pattern to it. So I want to make sure my pattern goes the way I want it to. So I'm just going to pop my pattern down so I can see that I've got them in order. You might not care about that, and that's totally okay too. Okay, I've had a little bit of a crooked thing. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your strip in the bottom left corner. Get that out of the way. Now, don't put too much glue on, but do put enough to keep it secure. I don't go right to the edges with my glue. I do make sure it's all over the back. And now remember, your little multi-purpose glue has got 2 ends. So you can just smooth so you don't get any bubbles as well. Now, if you've got big lumps in your glue, it's going to ooze out the side. So, here we go. Just going to pop this in the bottom left corner. And you want it completely aligned with the bottom edge and the left edge. It's got to be totally flush. And it's got to be straight, because if it's not straight, it looks a bit funny. That's why the glue is really great for a little bit of wriggle room. Okay, so I'm just moving mine out the way. Okay, so if you're playing along at home, just type in the comments, done 3 when you finish that little spot there. I'm actually doing 2 at the same time, so because I want to show you this example that I think is quite cute. Okay. So, I wonder what everybody's plans are for the weekend. You've got visitors coming, Glenda. I hope that the rest of your weekend isn't filled with too much housework or anything like that. Okay, so let's get on to clue number 4. Now you might be able to guess what clue number 4 is, but let's see where this is going. Clue number 4. Usually design a series paper. This 1/4 inch by 3 inch strip. And you're going to adhere that to the bottom right of your card. Again, it's going to be, so if you've got a pattern, you want your right hand side pattern. Okay, so again, this has got to be flush with the edge. Okay, now because I'm doing this at the same time, it makes it a little bit easier for me to know how long it takes people to do it. And because I've got no one crafting at home at the moment, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning's too early, I don't know. I know that some of our regulars are over watching Shani Haynes and her Facebook Live this morning. So good morning, Shani in Adelaide. I know you're going to watch this on replay later. So, yes, we're going to have to time this better, I think. And not do our Facebook Lives at the same time. Oh, we are a bit silly, aren't we? Yes. So we have, if you're finished and you have joined later and you're crafting along at home, I'm happy to go back over the clues we've done so far. Now, I will show you this bit, and then this is the last bit that I will show you. The rest of it is really up to you and your interpretation of the clues. Okay, so I've got my bottom one flush, and if it's not flush right down on the bottom edge, you can trim it, but And don't worry about, I'm not worried about those little bits there. Okay? All right, let's move on to clue number 4. Now this will be a short Facebook Live today, I think, because it's pretty, oh, sorry, clue number 5. Oh, need that coffee. Oh, speaking of coffee, I have to show you this beautiful new coffee mug that I got for Christmas from my dear friend Alison. Now, I've had a gorgeous coffee mug that, I don't know if you can see it. Try not to spill my coffee. Hang on, take another mouthful. Now, my gorgeous friend Alice, I've had a gorgeous coffee mug that I've been using for years from my dear friend Cheryl. And Alison saw this, and she knows that I have a thing for shoes, and I also have a thing for flamingos. And I love coffee mugs that have a really nice, delicate edge. So I've been using another mug for years and years that Cheryl gave me. And this is it. This is a gorgeous mug. And anyway, and this is totally random, and I don't know why it's got peas or something on it, but anyway, I've been using this coffee mug for years. I have to go back in the dishwasher. And it's a Christopher Vine mug. And Cheryl gave it to me about 5 years ago. And but sometimes it's just a little bit big for your first coffee of the day, or maybe your a little bit less coffee. So Alison, when she went on her trip to Tasmania halfway through last year, bought me this gorgeous little mug, and I just love it. It's exactly the right size, and it's sort of Christmassy but sort of not, so I use that, and it is just right for me. She just knows. Yes, Glenda, she just knows me so well. Well, she should after 20 years. So the first time I met her, I was actually babysitting her kids. So we had, after their school swimming carnival, oh sorry, club swimming carnival. All right, we're on to clue number 6. Oops, hang on, we didn't finish clue number 5. We've got our remaining strip. So this little last strip, and you're going to put that in the center. I got distracted. How funny is that? You're going to put that in the center between your two other strips, and it needs to be exactly in the center. And yes, there will be some white space between them. That's exactly what we want. So this is a fabulous card for using up your scraps. All right, it doesn't take long. It's not hard, really. Well, it's harder when you haven't seen what the end product is, but hey, that's part of the fun, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to say, because I know that no one's crafting along at the moment at home. So just when you finish this next card, clue, we'll go, because I'm doing 2 at the same time, because I'm going to show you 2 different examples. Just bear with me, I'm taking a little bit longer. Yeah. Okay, so clue number 5. So we've had that flush, it's got to be flush at the bottom. And it's got to be straight, okay? If it's not straight, it's going to look, well, sort of weird. So It's all right. So clue number 6. Now, this is from now on, you're not seeing what I'm doing, but you're going to take your different patterned DSP strip and you're going to lay it across the top of the other 3 strips. Now, where you position this, and I'll say across the top. So that's the top edge. Maybe I should have put the top edge. So where you position it really depends on how big your sentiment is, what else you want to have on your card. Okay. And I'm going to move my silicone craft mat out the way because I'm not showing you what I'm doing now. Yeah. So this week we're not having coffee, cake and cards, but we are doing a Zoom coffee, cake and cards. So part of the reason we aren't doing it is because I'm still a little bit nervous about going out after having COVID. And I'm also, and I want to keep people safe. And also because we start our bathroom renovations on Wednesday. So that's really exciting because I've waited for about 6 years for these renovations to happen. And I am very, very excited to see that they're finally happening, and our laundry renovation is happening at the same time. So we will just have a one ensuite for about 3 weeks, and because they're doing 2 bathrooms, and I'm so excited. And I got a new washing machine. I've never had a front-loading washing machine before, so that's exciting. Although it'll take a little bit of getting used to, because I'm one of these people who puts everything in the wash and then I go around the house and go, oh, there's something else, something that I missed, and I just shove it in the machine. So that's part of the other reason where this renovation is that we can't go to coffee, cake and cards because I have no say over when they come. And it will be really, really exciting. And I actually think it's going to be a little bit of a surprise because I can't remember what the tiles look like that we ordered. So I remember one lot, but I don't, because we ordered them about 5 months ago. And yeah, I just am not sure what we're getting. But that doesn't matter, does it? Like, it's just part of the fun, really. And I love it. Love the guys that are doing the renovation. They did our kitchen, and they also did our ensuite. And if I could find other things for them to do, I would have them back every year. They are so nice. And they come all the way from the Gold Coast, and they're just so tidy and respectful, and I might have a bit of a crush on them. Yeah. Anyway, so number 6 is done. Okay, I think I gave you enough time to do that. So number 7, we're starting to starting to come together and look like a card. We're going to add that basic white piece, which has got or I say basic white, you could use vanilla or whatever, but I'm using white. So I'll have to do one in vanilla so you can see what it looks like. And we're going to add that to the front of your card. Now again, use your glue. And I've just looked at mine and went, oh, it's not completely straight. I'm telling everybody you've got to get it straight. And I haven't followed my own advice, so it might look a little weird. But that's all right. That just makes me a little bit human. I think I say that every time. I think I make a mistake every Facebook Live. So you're going to have a really tiny edge. Now if you wanted, you could trim it down a little bit, but you'd have to trim from both sides and across the bottom. So don't play with it too much. All right, so once you've adhered that layered piece, I'll call it a layered piece, how's that? We're ready for the next step. Oh dear. Now before you stick it down, it's a good idea to grab your paper snips or your scissors and just make sure that you haven't got any white showing or that everything's all nicely aligned. Now if it's not, there's lots of things that can be done with sponging and trimming and distressing. You could distress all the edges if you wanted. Okay, so clue 7 is done. Clue number 8. You've got to remember that second piece of white cardstock. Well, this is your opportunity to use that now. So I'm going to stick mine on the inside. You may choose to stamp yours if you feel so inclined. And we're going to stick that on the inside. You might choose to put a bit of matching pattern paper on it, but while you're thinking about what you might choose to do, just stick it on the inside of your paper. Might choose to put some punch on it. It's all up to you. And you're still with me, Glenda. You could have made this morning. Heaps of time. Okay. Now if you were doing this card not waiting for me to give people time to do each step, you can probably, once you've got all your supplies together, you can do one in about 15 minutes. And I can tell you that because I did one in 15 minutes this morning. Okay. So, now you might have chosen to make your inside cardstock a bit smaller than the front cover. That's okay too. Now this is your card. You can do whatever you want with it. Okay. All right. So we've got our second piece of basic white. Now if you're watching this at home on replay, we're going to do clue number 8. So this is where the fun begins. Well, not really, but it's still lots of fun. You can do lots of things to the front of your card now. So you can stamp an image, you could punch out some shapes, so you might choose to punch some hearts, or you might choose to punch a lady beetle or something, ladybug, something like that. So this is a time that you're going to decorate your card. Because no one's crafting at home, I'm not going to pause the video or wait for too long. You can pause the video at home and just take your time. So if there was a few people in the doing this live, I would be saying, like, just waiting and making sure that there's no crafter left behind. Some people get to this step in a Facebook Live and they will not do the decorating, okay? But it's completely up to you what you choose to do. Now, you might find that the front of your card has got a piece of piece that you need to cover, or you might find like you might have a bit of a mistake, because there's always that one time when you get that little bit of wayward ink all over your fingers. It's really weird doing a mystery craft along when no one's crafting, but that's all right. I'm quite happy to just be here creating myself. It gets me out of doing the washing and putting the washing away, which Steve, my lovely husband, is doing for me right now. He's such a good man, and I don't say that sarcastically. He really is. All right, now let's have a look. So if you want to pause the video here while you're doing this, go ahead. All right, clue number 10. Pretty much clue number 10 is always the same. It's embellish, embellish, embellish. So you can choose to do this or you can choose not to. My card today, I am going to embellish. So I can just spend a couple of minutes. Now, if you're using some bling like rhinestones, or you're using some, I don't know, what do you call it, rhinestones or pearls or sequins, I really recommend that you put your embellishments on in odd numbers. And quite often I'll say make a triangle with them. So if you see in nature, there is things come in threes or odd numbers. So the petals on the flowers, they'll always be an odd number of petals, except in maybe the case of the pansy, but I think they have 3 petals on a pansy. I just can't quite remember. All right, I'm just going to grab my embellishments, because I have a whole folder. So these are mine that I'm using today. I'm using the oval rounds. I haven't used these before, so I'm hoping that they're going to go on my card okay. These are in the annual catalogue. Now, there are occasions where you might not use a odd number of, oh, they're pretty, an odd number of embellishments. So say, for example, you're doing a vintage card and you want to make it look like it's a, like it's got brads in each corner to hold the paper down, or you might have a banner with a sentiment on it and you want to make sure that it looks like you have used the embellishments to hold it down. You can do that, okay? So just have a little think about that when you're putting your embellishments in. Now, as I said, when I'm using groups of 3, I like to make sure that I've done them sort of like in a triangle pattern so that it's more pleasing to the eye, and it's sort of, it's a bit of a take on the rule of thirds. So gardeners and artists know about the landscapers, they know about the rule of thirds. So you're basically just putting your dividing your card into 3 and decorating all your layout into 3 and working within that third, okay? And I'm showing you with my hands and you can't see them because they're out of the camera. All right, so I'm hoping that you're finished your little project. So our mystery is now solved. So let me show you what I created. So this is my version of events and I hope that you like this. So this is for my dear friend who is in the US, who I've known since I was 17. She came to live with us for a while and she lives in Washington State. So I really like her and I'll be sending that to her as part of our love month. Now you might see here, I've got some little excess glue. Now it's dried. I'm going to just grab an eraser and show you what you can do with that. So I've just got a soft white eraser, and so when your glue is dry, just rub that over your glue, over your card. Now, and you'll see that the glue starts to come off. Don't be too rough with it. It might take a couple of goes. And then I've got that. So it just loosens it. So obviously I didn't have my tissue to wipe off. So there we go. So that's my card. Tell me what you think in the comments below. But I want to show you the other ones that I've done also. Oh, and on the inside I put, I would recommend you as a friend. So I want to tell you about this girl from the In the Moment set. When I went to see my friend Teresa, who lives in Washington State, she had short brown hair, brownish black hair, and my hair was really, really long. Last time, like hers was in a bob, last time when we caught up in Las Vegas in 2018, and she had really long hair, and my hair was short. And when I say my hair was long, it was halfway down my back and past my bra strap, okay? So, yeah. Oh, you're going through your paper stash blender to decide. Oh, so yeah, so this is this card. Anyway, so let me show you some other examples. This was the other one that I'm partway through that I'm making. I've just got to finish that little bit here and do some trimming because I didn't get it straight. And because I was playing with different widths of the card stock. So this is stamped cardstock. That is with the Sweet Conversations suite of products that's in the mini catalogue. Right, so I haven't finished this bit here, so I will do that. That's as far as I got during in the 15 minutes before our catch up. Okay, and I haven't embellished it either. So these are my other ones. So remember I said you could use the punch image. Now these need some embellishments, so forgive me. And at the time I was doing them, I thought they were straight, but they're obviously not. So this is just I've used the ice cream punch that goes with the sweet ice cream set. So this is just a really nice birthday card for a child. Because it's got blues and yellows and pinks, it could be for a boy or a girl. So that's that one. Then using the same, now again, I was playing with the measurements. I haven't finished the inside, obviously. And so my white strips are wider because I couldn't work out exactly the right width. But I think we've only got that little bit there. You can see this one's a little bit crooked, but we've only got that smaller bit. It looks a bit better. Again, this is another one using that sweet ice cream. And this is for my friend's teenage daughter, who she starts year 10 next week, but it's her birthday next week as well. And I just really love her. And Madeline, if you watch this later, happy birthday. Pretend you don't see it. Next up, I'm missing one. I wonder where it might be. But let's try another punch one. So these ones, when I was experimenting, I wanted to, my paper was too wide, so my strips were too wide, so they overlapped. But again, I think it's quite a cute card. And yeah, and I really hadn't thought that you needed those white spaces, but I like even though it overlaps, because it just changes the pattern a little bit. And I did another one like that. Oh, this is from the Turtle Friends, and it's again, I'm using that love theme. Right. Now, I challenged myself, and let me just pile these over here. I'll lay them all out nicely at the end. I challenged myself to use a set that I had never used before. Now, this is a Hostess set from the annual catalogue, the 2021-22. And so I just love the swan, and I love the frog or toad, or whatever you like to call it. I think it's frog. And it reminds me of, well, you've got to kiss a lot of frogs before you found your prince. And so this is my little take on this. Now what I did find is, because I've got a white background on my card, and again that's crooked too, you shouldn't craft at midnight really, because you can't see that it's not lined up properly. But yeah, you can see that the white background on the paper just blends in with the white, so it looks completely different to, like, I think this one is much nicer with the contrast between the white. But that's my personal opinion, you might disagree. So the other stamp on here is the swan, and so I always think that everyone has the opportunity to go from being an ugly duckling who's awkward as a kid to being a swan. So this is my little swan. Now I'm just going to have a look and see if I can see the last card that I had done, which I'm sure, you can notice I've done lots of cutesy cards. Until last year, avoided cutesy cards like the plague. They're not really my thing, but I've had some people saying, oh, just push your comfort zone a little bit. So I'm just going to see if I can find the last one. Yeah, and as I said, pushing your comfort zone a little bit. So this is another one for a friend that I love, and I chose the design, the kite design, because it's she's one of these people that helps other people soar. So that's my reasoning for choosing that for her. And again, this is, now let's have a talk about this paper. I forgot to, all of this paper for all of these projects here comes from, it's a free celebration paper that you can get when you order $90 or more, and it's called Sunshine and Rainbows, I think. And it's it's a celebration one, and celebration's been extended for another couple of weeks, so till mid-March, I think. So that's really exciting. So if you have some things that you need to order, for every $90 that you spend, you get to choose a free gift from the mini celebration catalogue. And excuse me, and therefore you could choose this paper, and it's 6x6 paper, so you can just cut it in half and you've got quite a few fronts on your cards. I tried to use the reverse of each side, but it didn't always work that way. So I think those two are the reverse, and those two, I think. But anyway, but it's, so you can see there's a really big colour contrast between the papers. So I hope that you liked our mystery craft along today. I'll take some photos of these projects and put some embellishments on them, because that's an important thing. And I'll finish this one off and post them on Facebook and Instagram sometime in the next few days. So thanks for joining us this morning. And yes, I have been busy, Glenda, and I do love that combination. It's completely different, isn't it? It's got some surprising colours actually. It's Pool Party, So Soft Fun, Mango Melody, and Flirty Flamingo. So they've got a pink in there, but I actually think that if it's almost like a coral, so you could, it's not necessarily a gender specific card, and I don't like gender specific cards really. Like my friend, her son, he likes rainbow colours, so like he could have any one of those cards and he'd be perfectly happy. Like he'd love that one because it was nice and bright. So he's hopefully he'll watch this later with his mum. So I think that yeah, you just play around with the colours, and each of the DSP colour packs has got the colours on the packet of what are used, so you don't have to think too hard. So I always keep the little keep it in its packaging. I might put it in a, if it's a 12 by 12 paper, I might put it in a plastic bag, or I might put the 6 by 6 paper in a smaller bag, but I keep it together so that I know how or what colours I need to use. So that's just another little tip. So I hope you have a really wonderful day, and I hope that you might be inspired by the projects, and hope to see everybody for our Zoom craft along next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Queensland time. So that is 11 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. 10:30 in, I don't even know what they call it. I think it's Australian Central Time. I'm not sure. Adelaide time. So hopefully you might be able to join us, and we will have a natter, and you can bring along your own craft projects and your own coffee and cake and or biscuits or whatever you like, or cookies if you're in America, or scones if you're in the UK. And if you don't want to bring a cuppa, you can bring a cocktail if it's that time in your part of the world. So hope that you can join us then and bring a project to do, or just bring your drink and have a natter or chat. Okay, until next time, happy creating. Bye for now.